This conference will now be recorded.
You guys get the Oreos? Okay.
Don't have it sound. Somebody must have turned it off. I really don't like to turn it back on though.
Yeah, we don't like.
Perfect.
Let's do it back.
Stay out of the surrounding. I think I have a remote there.
Hi, Mark. Don't see you singing.
As soon as I walked in, I'm like, oh. And I love the new, I love these new chairs, but like, I like the taste of them too. Space. And I kind of feel like cut off from the camera so that like you're not actually standing.
Be enlarged a little
It's
bit.
restaurant pants for how to dress
Hey,
up
Nate.
now.
Hey, Nate, did you try to say something?
Say that again, Mike.
I just need you to say something so I can
Know that you're
mess with the sound.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, we're good now. All right, we'll call the meeting to order and stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Like this.
Oh Lord, we gather this day to do the important business with people, citizens of Owego, fairness, wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Amen.
All right, so tonight, first thing we have is the annual meeting. So I'll go through that. All right, so for the annual meeting, the first thing is the mayoral appointments for period 4/1/24 through 4/7/2025. Associate Justice, Michael Greenwich. Village Court Clerk, Diane Gregory. Village Historian, Lisa Bissell. Yeah, I almost screwed that up. Deputy Clerk Treasurers, Cindy Motter, Kim Norton, and Nikki Arroyo. All right, so then, does everybody have a copy? We got a bunch of motions. So we just want to like go around and somebody start.
like we did before.
Brian, you want to start?
Okay, the following, to be adopted, be it resolved that the Chemung Canal Trust Bank be hereby designated as a receiver of monies deposited to the sewer and general funds, community block grant, and trust, capital, and reserve accounts of the village of Owego as of April 1st, 2024.
Who wants to second? Second. Okay. only comment on that one is, should we add EMS into that?
Sure.
Probably should. That's a new head. Yeah, the EMS fund as well.
Okay.
So we'll vote on that. Brian,
Yes.
Terry, Charles,
Yes.
Dave, yes. Laura,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes. Yeah.
It's okay.
You guys are confusing me. We got Terry and we got Dave. We're calling him Ron and do that. Okay, next.
The following be adopted, be it resolved, the first and third Monday of each month at 7 p.m. shall be designated as Village of Owego board meeting, night and time, with the meeting being held in the boardroom of the DPW Annex, 22 Elm Street, Owego, New York, for the coming year, and providing that if any regular meeting which fall on a holiday, the meeting shall be held on the following evening, a Tuesday, at the same time and place.
I second.
Brian? We'll vote.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Dave, yes. Laura,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes.
All right, a motion for the following to be adopted. Be it resolved that the Saginaw County Courier and Binghamton Press and Sun Bulletin be designated as official newspapers for required legal notices and publications of the Village of Owego.
Second.
Brian,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes. I'll do this one. Motion, the town of Owego clerk and deputy town clerk are appointed as registrars of vital statistics for the village of Owego.
Second.
Yes.
Brian, Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes. David.
Motion that the village mileage reimbursement rate will be the IRS standard rate of 67 cents per mile.
Second.
Brian,
Yes.
Terry, Charles,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes.
Motion that the finance insurance commissioner and the clerk treasurer will review all insurance policies on all village property and buildings, including flood insurance, verify current status and report status to the board at the second board meeting in May.
Second.
Brian,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes.
Move that the planning board commissioner and the clerk treasurer will review the Tioga County Hazard Mitigation Plan, Village of Owego section, Village of Owego comprehensive plan, and emergency management plan, and report the state of each and need for revision, if needed, to the board at the first board meeting in May.
I second.
Brian,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes.
Yeah, resolve that, grant commissioner and, clerk treasurer will review the status of all Village of Owego grants and report the status of each to the board at the second board meeting in June.
Second.
Brian,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Dave, Laura,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes.
Motion that the Village of Owego procurement policy will be reviewed by the Finance Commission and the clerk treasurer, and recommendations for updates, if needed, be reported to the board at the second board meeting of April.
Second.
Brian,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes.
A motion to have the wastewater treatment plant commissioner and the wastewater treatment plant supervisor review the wastewater treatment plant rates and make recommendations to the board at the first board meeting in July of any needed increases, decreases, or other billing changes needed to fund the operation and maintenance of the wastewater treatment plant.
I'll second that.
Brian,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes. So,
Okay, so a motion that we hold the meetings according to the presented list.
Second.
Which are the first and third Mondays other than September, January 21st, February 18th. That's it. Okay. Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
David, yes, Laura,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes. Thinking about just making them every Monday. All right, so
That was just
next,
for March.
next section is mine. So I offer the following appointments to the trustees. May you choose to accept them. So Laura, we got grants, zoning, planning, and I changed up a new one and added finance.
Oh. Yeah. That'd be good
Didn't
to
we
put
have a
that
couple
on there,
more?
huh?
Motions here?
That's all the one.
No, it's all one big.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Separate.
Smart to put that on there.
Yeah.
All right,
that's all, yeah. Trustee of police, Terry, we got finance, grants, insurance, and I gave you OHPC to give Laura the clients. Dave, wastewater treatment plant personnel. Charles, deputy mayor, personnel, DPW, code, and fire. And Fran, EMS and cemetery. Now we're back to the motions. Oh, is that a motion? Do we need to vote on that? Okay. Because
Who said, who would say?
Do we have to approve your
I don't think
appointments?
we have to approve it.
I would think that would.
Can I make a?
Is code closer to the lease than?
Well, maybe.
You want to throw a code at Rusty?
We could do that.
How you feel about that, Rusty?
That would be fun.
Okay.
I could never get a hold of it.
All right. So move that around. Rusty gets code, policing code. Cross it out, Charles. Okay. All right, so back to the, I think it's Dave's turn.
All right. There's a motion that personal matters, including new hire and interviews, will be handled by the personnel committee consisting of, number one, the personnel commissioner, number two, the affected department's commissioner, three, the department head. Personal action recommended by the committee will be reviewed by the mayor and brought to the village board of trustees. This policy includes full and part-time employees. Mayor Beretta appoints the personnel committee, is to appoint the personnel committee.
I second.
So the personnel committee is Dave and Charles. Frank,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes.
Well, I'd like to pass this one to Rusty to read.
So this is the one about our procedures for conducting a meeting. And we usually put to every year the NICOM's recommended guidelines, although once again, it tells us right from NICOM's own thing, they are meant only to serve as a guideline and should be tailored to the specific needs of each particular public body. So I don't know who's read this or paid any attention to what NICOM had asked. I have a number of things that I would be interested in having us tailor to our needs. They're not tremendously complicated, but I'll give you, if you want. Do you have that document that Dave handed out right in front?
So I handed it out.
in front of you? Okay. So I'm gonna tell you what's on my mind here. On the first page, 5.5, It has answering questions at the public hearing. Top large, middle page, large black thing. My particular thought on this is that, we can answer questions when the public is is talking to us, and this is both at a public hearing and a public comment, depending on how one wants to do it. But my thought on this is that when a board member wants to ask a question of the public, and I think it's in here partially anyways, the board member should always ask for the chair's permission to do these things. So my thought is that when a board member wants to ask a public question in a public hearing, public comment, or a regular session, the board member should ask the chair for the floor and ask to address the public member. We shouldn't be each and every one of us just yelling out whatever we want. The chair should always do that. If you want to ask somebody a question there, Mike, when I want to ask a question, I raise my hand, ask you the floor, I ask, is it okay if I ask that person a question? Answer. We should be doing something like that just to keep order in the house. It doesn't have to say it exactly. I'm just suggesting that as a possible difference there. I would like to change the order of business that is in here on one of the pages. Oh, yeah. 5.7, it's the third page, and on the bottom page, it's 5.7, it says order of business. That is not the general way we have been doing our order of business. Doesn't mean that the way we're doing it is good, bad, right, or wrong, but that's just a recommendation from them. In that order of business, the public comment comes, in my mind, 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through the meeting, after all of our people have spoken, all of our commissioners, all of our folks. I think we should put the public comment back at the top. We should not take that guideline. Public comment should be the beginning. People come in here, they want to say something to us, they don't want to be here all night. Somebody who does want to be here has the opportunity again at the end. So I think we should move that back to first thing. That's my opinion. So I'm going to recommend that one. I'm going to recommend that as a modification when I make the motion. So generally, what we've done before, public comment, then, once again, because they've come and maybe come a long way and stuff, I call it special guests, special people on the agenda or special guests next, then department heads next, like we've always done, then, yes, committees, we never put committees, but that should be Peter Gordon, somebody like that, committees that we have. If we want to have old business and new business as categories, that's fine. They could come next. Then I think it should be, like we've done it in the past, trustees, communications, mayor, public. Does that sound like about what we've done and about what we like? That's what I'm going to recommend that we do.
It is a lot closer to what we've
been
following.
doing. And I think it fits us better than there. But because once again, the thing is just that.
Yeah, no, it's just a guideline.
All right.
The first line of their thing says Taylor.
Yep, exactly.
Also on 5.7, once again, these things aren't solid things, but it tells you in general. Always ask for the floor, and then it says something that we don't do very well. A member once recognized, one of us, may not be interrupted when speaking. I've noticed a couple of times lately, people have said, I'm talking now, I'm speaking now. So in general, if there's a reason to interrupt somebody, ask for the floor, tell them that I do that to you once in a while, say, might I jump in the middle? Just decorum and courtesy, but these are the ways we should probably be thinking about doing these things. All right, thank you for that. Public comment, and that starts on that page, it goes next. The public gets to speak during public comment. If they want to speak during the meeting, they need to raise their hand or whatever method and ask the chair to speak during the regular meeting. The chair will decide whether or not that person should be allowed to speak and how long and what they may be able to add, or if it's pertinent to the question. That's the chair's job.
But in the rules, it says, where the actual document says, public may speak only during the meeting's public comment period and at any other time a majority of the board allows.
And I would add to that, or the chair. And the majority of the board could vote to allow that. The chair can allow that. The chair runs the meeting. So that we should follow that, but they don't just get to chime in. They have to be recognized by the chair. He has to decide how long they're gonna speak, what they're gonna do. He's running the show.
Now you know their bullet points
Yeah,
after
there's a
that.
bunch on public comment.
About all that stuff. And most of those are not terribly,
Well,
I'm not trying to manage all those.
So it does
Well,
say
but
that you
if we're
must
gonna
sign
adopt
in, and so like that way we would have a record of who's speaking.
We like them to sign in, we like them to tell who they are and where they come, where they live.
they also
We
must
do that in
give-
general.
They also must give their name, address, and organization.
That's fair. The microphone in front of the room is not
Right.
important for us.
And then,
5 minutes is, that's up to the chair. The chair will decide how long John Loftus can talk.
and this, it says we must limit to remarks of 5 minutes. If we're gonna change it, we need to change it.
Well, then take that out and they will, their time limit will be at the chair's discretion.
And it also, says a couple more things. Basically, board members may, with permission of the mayor, interrupt a speaker during their remarks, but only to ask a question, clarification of information.
So I'm interrupting you now, Mike. So they also have the privilege of speaking and not being interrupted by us.
And then the next one, we've had this happen, so
Yeah.
I'll bring it up.
Absolutely, I got these circled.
All remarks must be addressed to the board as a body and not to an individual board member. So from public comment, somebody can't come in and attack one of us. That's happened before.
And the next one should be pretty simple. Please use courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste from our people. If they're not gonna do that, they'll be gavelled down. But those are standard things that we need to do.
That's what it says about public comment.
That's everything that I was thinking about our general rules.
I highlighted a bunch of stuff.
Is
Just
that-
informational, as we adopt these, so special meetings, I know we've had those before, a lot. But any one of us can call a special meeting, doesn't have to be just me.
It says that there. That seemed odd to me, Mike. That's what they said, that's their guideline. It seems odd to me that a trustee, any trustee for any reason can and has total authority to say, I've decided that there's gonna be a meeting for any reason they want, and that's the way it is. Maybe that's a little too,
That's what it says, within 72 hours, that anybody can call a meeting.
is that,
We can change it if you want, that's
I
guidelines.
mean, sometimes
Well,
we might
does
have.
it say board meeting or just meeting?
no, this is a special official board meeting.
Okay, I think that should be the discretion of the mayor.
Well, through a trustee. I mean, if the trustee thinks so, address the mayor, find out if that's okay, not just.
So the mayor- So quite often, a meeting, possibly, I don't know how you vote it, but possibly a majority of the board could call a meeting or
Right.
demand the mayor call a meeting, something like that. But I think one trustee probably shouldn't be able to, on their own, demand and call a meeting.
So
That's what you're saying.
it says a special meeting may be called. And so upon notice to the entire board, and so like say if you don't get your notice to everybody in time and stuff, like
Maybe don't get a quorum.
then why we might need to call a meeting like that at some point in time. And usually we, we're here, we call it for a purpose at one of these meetings and schedule it for everybody so that the public notice can go out.
Right.
So,
But I don't understand your point. What the point we're arguing is whether or not a single member can do that. Not whether the mayor can do it, not whether the board can do it, whether one person can just do it on their own, and that's it. Nobody gets to say no, nobody gets to say I don't wanna come, nobody gets to say you're being a jerk.
Rusty calls on the phone and says, we're having a meeting Wednesday.
You guys would be surprised how many meetings you might be having.
so far we ask and then we all approve or not to have that meeting. And so what if we just say that we'll follow that
That's
along
fine.
with what we said about, our alterations to public comment, that we would just sort of confer
No, that's fine.
and have that be.
We should just change it, I guess.
Change it. I believe that the mayor should be allowed to call a special meeting. So the mayor or the majority of the board. Does that work?
They call me just so we can sit in front of the chairs.
Yeah.
You and I would do it.
So a special meeting may be called by the mayor or the majority of trustees.
That sounds good to me. Then the next is just a topic, but it's in our rules, so we need to adopt them. It says that, the mayor or any trustees may have an item placed on the agenda. So, just FYI. I know that's been a question before.
Well, but it needs to, does it say with a certain amount of notice?
Well, it says 24 hours notice, but then it also says you can add things to the agenda during the meeting, so.
Some places will not allow any discussion on anything if it's not on the agenda. Some jurisdictions will not.
Well, that's what we were talking about a few years ago.
We allow that.
But I know that's been a question, like if I have to approve what goes on the agenda, and the answer is no, according to.
Ah.
Mike?
That's everything I have highlighted.
So above that, it says the agenda will be prepared by the clerk at the direction of the mayor. I always ask that question when I go into the office. I ask, am I allowed to put something on the agenda? Is the police chief, is one of the other department heads, who is the secretary, who gets to put something on the agenda? So that's a legitimate question.
Right.
I think that everything that goes on the agenda should go through the mayor. So you want something there, or you get a hold of whoever and you say, please, or you give it to Mike, or you say to one of the staff, please give it to Mike, I'd like this on the agenda, and Mike makes the final decision about what goes on the agenda. Is that reasonable? Or do you want to just be any trustee can just say, go and say, I want that on the agenda put there?
No.
Do you want the mayor to have final say on it?
Well, I think it'd be better to say that you can have it on the agenda, but if the mayor decides that it's not feasible that particular meeting, he can say no. Now, I not go to Mike every time, say, can we do this or that? How do you feel, Mike?
I don't know, I mean, typically Fridays, I'm here and we go through what's on the agenda. You know, put stuff on it, take it off.
I send my stuff in pretty late when I get to it, you know.
So if you send it late, who puts it on there?
Well, I'm following this, you know, at least the 24 hours notice, or, you know, I try to get it out before the agenda goes up. And then if there's any additions, I send it in as soon as I can, but like, that's just to get it out, but. I mean, so I'm following the rules technically.
Question's easy.
I'm fine.
Do we just does a trustee just get to put something on the agenda, or do they turn it in and the mayor gets the final call about whether it's on there or not? It's one of those two things. What do you want to do?
I'm fine with whatever.
What do you folks want to do?
How have we been doing it? Has it been a problem?
No, it hasn't.
No, it's just trying to, actually, other people put things on the agenda, and that's
Well,
probably
there's
the
other
problem.
people that, you know, just take the other people part out.
Well, it's not in there that other people can do it.
Well, that is true, because at one time, we did get some stuff on the agenda that nobody knew where it came from, so.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
That right there.
I remember that recently.
Yeah, a few meetings ago.
Yeah.
So this would contain it to the mayor or any trustee.
Right.
So
Should we
that's
add?
nice.
How about department heads?
Because that, I mean, they're mostly who people want to put stuff on the agenda.
That should go through you.
Okay.
So, we're gonna leave that like it is, trustee. The trustee can put something on it, so,
That's fine. Yeah. So anyway, that's why I pulled those out to go through them, because we always just blindly adopt them and don't really know what we're adopting correctly.
this is a good procedure, we're narrowing target. What we want?
Carlos?
I just want to clarify, if at any point during public comment or any other part of our agenda that our department heads could interject pertinent information into a conversation, would they be allowed? Because these guys, they got the goods, they know what's happening.
I would think so, following the same kind of rules, probably.
yes, they're probably welcome, but on the same decorum, they're not, it's not a back and forth discussion, so if one of them wants to add and help and do stuff, they simply get the mayor's attention, and I assume he would recognize.
I know there's many times that we could use it.
Oh, absolutely. They know stuff, but
I don't know how we're gonna put that in the motion.
no, that's just, that doesn't have to be in there.
No,
That's just,
Yeah,
everything we just did.
Because
it goes without saying, but it's just that we don't want anybody to shut them down because.
No.
Whatever.
so the general feel is, when somebody, like I'm not doing now, when somebody wants to have the floor, they ask for it, and the mayor gives it to them. And when the mayor doesn't give it to them, they're not supposed to be just chattering away like that.
But that's all cool though, because we're adults, we know not to cut each other off,
Yeah.
to a certain extent.
Yep.
I mean, all that professional, go by the book stuff. Well, anyway.
And the mayor will be the decider of how loose it's gonna be.
Well, what about if
Oh.
the board fails to approve the minutes? The draft minutes prepared by the clerk will be the minutes of the board. I would take exception to that, because when we fail to approve the minutes, we usually give a reason, we say we want to hold them off to the next meeting. So I'd like to continue to control it, like, we're not forgetting about them.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, as long as
It
we're
does say
acknowledging them, that's why we're holding them off, we should be able to hold them off.
Rusty?
Footnote, page 9, footnote, number 31, state law does not mandate that public bodies approve minutes,
That is true.
although it is a common practice. So that whole approval of minutes is,
It's kind of
it's
bogus.
just kind of whatever. I wouldn't take that as,
But we could take that line out. If the board fails to approve the minutes, then the minutes.
Yeah, it sounds like we don't want them.
I'd say take that, I like the way we do it.
Right.
Yeah,
Sometimes it takes a month, they took.
Scratch that part out.
we approve our minutes at our discretion, whatever we feel.
I like the way we do it.
okay. So we'll just remove that one
Yeah.
bullet point.
Right.
Can we go back to this hiring thing, 'cause I'm still confused.
Okay.
With the hiring motion that you had?
Yep.
Even on part-time for my summer help and stuff like that?
No,
Okay,
full time.
okay, perfect.
Might I-
Very nice.
Call me first, then you second. Fred, we had already determined that in the past that seasonal summer help would not be considered the part-time for, when we made our own rule, not their rule about part-time.
said
Needed
part-time scared
needed an interview, but that did not.
Right.
So we've already made that.
Okay,
Certain part time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
right.
So to add on to that, my question is, when we did interviews, I called Dave, Charles, and Frank.
Yep.
Is that I was a little confused by the motion, it almost sounded like I invited too many people.
No, that's the right.
Okay. Okay,
I was getting clarification.
okay, thank you.
You get one more of us, then you got a quorum. That's why there's two people on the person, but not three.
Are we ready, Mike?
We're ready.
Okay, the motion is, and there were some whereases. Move that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Owego adopts the document entitled NICOM Meeting Procedures PG 555-559 with the Village of Owego, New York modifications. I've added that line to it. As the rules of our procedure for the official year beginning in state.
I second.
Rodney's got the modifications.
And any others that we decide to.
And maybe I'll type up a thing with the modifications or something. Then next year we'll have our own document. Okay. Brian?
Okay, now therefore,
No, we're just voting.
I've already made
Oh,
I
okay,
made the
yes.
motion to revoke.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles? David? Maura?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Because we all of a sudden reviewed and understand our procedures.
Right. All right, so we cross annual meeting off the list.
I think the last thing we put on there, I'll put on there the results of the election. And everybody's been sworn in, this was it. So that'll be on the end.
All right, so with our new rules, let's do public comment now. Nope. other kind. And do we want to do the minutes? So I made this agenda with those rules that we said we were following, so
We'll do the minutes and the treasurers at the end like we usually do.
we can.
Let's do it.
So let's do department heads. Sure.
Okay. Just a couple things. For the month of March, haulers brought us 383,000 gallons of septic for a total of about $22,000 towards operating expenses. The only other thing is, through our relationship with New York Rural Water, they've agreed to lend us some expert help and some equipment when they can. A push camera that we can unobtrusively go through some sewer lines and maybe find some manholes and stuff that's been buried to the ages of time, broken laterals or laterals that people have buried. And they just want to help us out a little bit here and there.
Do you know who your contact is at the rural water? Is it MJ?
No, Dave Stenzel, he's our main point of contact because he's dealing with all the trainee and then classes that they're giving our guys work towards a license.
They offered, the rural water offered us some free help in the past, and we sort of told them we were a little bit busy with the hazard mitigation plan. But now, all of a sudden, maybe we should call them back up because they want to help us with the water source protection.
Dave Stenzel is like our point of contact. I know Jamie used to be the person in charge. I think he's retired, so I don't know who the new contact is, but I will see Dave on Thursday and I can ask him who's a good person to get a hold of.
Yeah. I just have one more question, okay?
Okay.
For the benchmarking that we're doing, they wanted us to know, how many, your average influent flow per meter at your plant. Like, so in units of millions of gallons per day, how much water is going through the plant?
A daily thing, it fluctuates throughout the year. I would say anywhere between 300,000 and 600,000 gallons a day, or 0.3, 0.6 mgd.
What'd you say? What?
Point 0.3 to 0.6 mgd.
Million gallons.
MGD, millions of gallons per day.
Yep.
Okay.
During a nice severe rainstorm, you can do 3.6 million.
Up to 3.6 million you can process?
Well, we
in a
don't
day?
particularly process it.
At max.
It'll short circuit through.
Thank you. That's part of the recording.
And the only other thing was the couple items on the agenda that I did not seek prior approval for.
That's okay. Yes, you did, because I said yes, Friday. You kind of.
But those are motions.
We want to do those now? They're under new business. Page 2. Rusty?
I like doing them now. All the commissioners here are, not commissioner, department heads, it's here, and we can send him on his way home. Doesn't have to wait 2 more hours for a new business motion.
So they are.
One is the, Jeff Duke.
Yep.
I'll motion to promote Jeffrey Duke from operator trainee to 2A operator with a merit increase of $1.50 an hour.
Second that.
Any discussion? Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Yes. Next one is Kim.
motion to give Kim Norton a merit raise of $1.50 an hour.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
And yes. Are there any others? Pursue it. All right, anything else for sewer? That's good. Paul?
So I emailed my, list out, and on there, the heavy points were, that we did 120 calls last month. The March call listing will be emailed out tomorrow as soon as I get it. The person that does it was on vacation today. Above and beyond stuff was, we did community CPR classes for Little League. About 20 people were trained in CPR and AT. We did interviews for weekday paramedics with the interview committee, or the personnel committee. 31's in service with no issues, 33's in service with no issues, 32's out of service for an EGR valve. It'll be back in about 2 weeks. 51 has no issues, and is in service. And I just have the item on the agenda also to replace the person that left 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
So with that, I'd like to make the motion to hire Elizabeth Nito as a full-time paramedic for those who live with a 6-month probationary period. The start date to be determined.
What about salary?
The salary that was listed was $27.50.
How much was it?
$27.50.
That should be in the motion.
That's per hour.
Per hour.
Per hour, yes, per hour.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Any discussion?
Rusty?
So,
I second.
don't know anything about her, I assume the committee is interviewed her. So, everything looks good, qualifications, et cetera, et cetera. So, we have just one full-time now, we had some part-times, are they all gone?
So we have we have 2 other full-time people. Linda still works once in a great while. She worked last Friday. Matt works, a regularly scheduled most of the time, but he's not available for any time in April. So Sonia's basically working all week. And, I am going out, if you guys approve the full-time person to replace Linda when she went to Lord's, I'll be looking for just a part-time person to help fill in the holes, to reduce overtime and that. So a couple other tidbits of information is, she's been a paramedic for almost 8 years. She volunteers at Shenango Ambulance. She works for a couple agencies part-time. She was full-time until she did some out-of-town COVID relief as a paramedic. So
She has 2 cats.
I'm sorry?
And she has 2 cats.
She has 2 cats.
12 less than Charles.
So,
Plenty of experience.
So, I'm just trying to find out the staffing. So, when we hire her, will she be at 40-hour a week, or is she gonna work full-time?
oh yeah, full-time.
So we'll have Sonia and her full-time.
Yep.
How about the gentleman that's almost full-time, who you just mentioned, who's not gonna be here in April?
He's can fill in the 2 days that the other 2 can't. The plan is to be 4 10-hour days with overlapping schedule, one working 6 to 4, the other one working 8 to 6 to cover the daytime calls that we get. And
I'm just asking because I interrupted you, go.
no, so that leaves 2 open slots on a regular basis. If you work if you work them one, let's say, for example, you work one Monday through Thursday, the other one Tuesday through Friday, one has a 12-hour day on Monday, one has a 12-hour day on Friday to cover the entire day.
So what I'm just trying to get clear, what I'm trying to get clear is we had and tried to maintain 2 full-time employees. Are we now trying to have 2 full-time employees 24/7, 7 days a week?
No, this is only Monday through Friday, 6 AM to 6 PM.
Okay. And we'll need 3 to do that, or more than 3?
No, this would be 2 full-time people and some small miscellaneous part-time people.
So, but the gentleman that's been working, what you were talking, that's been working practically full-time, won't be a full-time employee then?
He's not a full-time.
He's not now, he's just.
He's part-time, he fills in, like he worked when Sonia was on vacation last week. And we scraped the bottom of the barrel to fill in the coverage for the rest of it.
That's hard to get people. So I'm just, I know I'm going slow here, my brain is not real good on this. So what we're trying to get to is 12 hours, 5 days a week is what we're trying to cover with our paid employees. Did I get that right?
And that's kind of what we're doing now, other than there's no backup for Sonia when she's on vacation. And there's no, overlapping for backup call coverage.
No buffering.
What's that?
No buffering.
Yeah, there's no buffering.
Yeah, I do understand that about, once again,
Right.
to try and get 24/7, you have 50% more than the hours that are there to try to do the things. I get that stuff. I'm just trying to make it clear. We're trying to do 5 days a week, and we're trying to do 12 hours of the day, best we can.
We're not doing anything abnormal. Anything abnormal. The only time that anybody has ever worked past 6 o'clock is if they have a late call, and during the flood, shit hit the fan during the flood, and it was a ye all come and everybody was there. So that's the only time that somebody worked outside the Monday through Friday, 6 to 6 hours.
Get it clear, and I know that we've been hoping and begging to find anybody that will work full-time for us, so I understand that. Okay, those are my questions. Thank you.
Further discussion on this? Michelle? Frank?
Yes.
Terry? Charles?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Laura? Yeah. Laura?
Yeah.
Rusty?
Yes.
And yes.
Paul, thank you for all the time and effort you put into this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully it helps relieve some of that stress of not having a backup.
Yes.
Anything else for EMS? Brett?
That's a couple of jobs that we started and finished here. The DPW garage, we did the front half of it, and we started down the side of it with new metal on the building to get rid of the old rickety paint job that we had on it. Looks pretty good. Charles, I did your job for you for Page Street and Fox Street. You got your no parking sign.
And it's been working.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It's helped a lot.
Yeah, we noticed you got up the very next day.
And next
Yep,
day.
good too. Last week we had a bunch of guys up in the cemetery getting opened up, and for the Easter ceremony that they had up there with Bobby Harris, had that. That was a very good hit. My guys installed a new door to mortuary that Peter Gordon got for us, and we mounted it, so it is up and working. Very good. And then the normals that we've been doing, we do every day pretty much, is chip brush, potholes, and cleaning drains, pitching, and a lot of people have been out working in their yards, so we've been on the streets quite a bit. And just so everybody knows that I'll be hiring temporary, about another 4 people for the cemetery this year. I'm hoping.
Looks like we got nothing on the agenda for you.
Cool.
Think we have anything for DPW?
Unimportant. I see some, this is great. On the park, just on the parking, 5 seconds, on the parking, a guy now is parking across the street but he's off the street and he's on a spot there by the underpass. Great, you're not parking on the street, you're not parking there, you can kind of almost pull off in the dirt there, he's over there out of the way. On Page Street.
Oh, Page Street, oh yeah, over by the.
That's great,
center you're talking about,
he's
yeah.
not parking where he's not supposed to.
Yeah.
That's it, no, that's all.
Yeah, but Charles is right, they haven't been parking there since we put the sign up.
Winchell gave somebody a warning.
Oh, they did?
That's good too.
Yeah, it was the day the sign went up, so I said, yeah, you better give him a warning.
Was it the black Camaro?
No, it was a white. No, not that one.
Wasn't me.
Alright, let's see, other department has any comment? Okay.
Just did a quick little update on the DRI money. Since I complained they didn't pay us, they finally started to pay us. So, you're gonna read, they've given us $1,700,000 that they owe us. And we paid all our bills to date. And the rest just shows you how much we've got remaining. So,
how does that affect the money we took out? Like, you didn't take out as much?
I only took out 3.2 million, because we're getting 4 million, so. You know, so that's, I took out enough, I didn't take out all of it, so we have enough to pay all of it. And I think in a month or two, I'll be able to send some back, you know. So we try to cut down on our expenses. More we're covered, as long as you don't go over the $4 million budget. You can't go over.
Well, yeah.
Don't go over the budget.
Do you feel safe to do the rest of the projects with that?
Yeah, I've got the $4 million sitting there, that's 10 out. We already paid $1,000,007 out, so we got 2.3 million left to the rest of all the projects. As long as you don't go over it, we should be good, we just have to worry about the interest. And if I can pay them back some in advance, that'll cut down on some of the interest.
Yeah, that's what I meant, so like, if we use any of this to pay back any of that.
That's the plan.
Right now.
Yeah, I mean, the plan was, that's what we borrowed the money to pay it back, but we were waiting for the state, instead of us coming up with this money, they didn't have that to come up with. We'll have enough to pay back.
So, we had that company reach out to us about doing this for the hazard mitigation plan, or hazard mitigation related projects at a lower rate, and I just didn't get around to organizing when we're gonna have that meeting. Do you have a best time that I could like just let them know? Because it would be you, the mayor, and me, and Nate. It would have been Ed.
So now it'll be Terry. Just planning.
Okay.
The biggest problem, we can't be borrowing money like left and right, because we gotta pay it back.
Yeah.
We don't have an endless, we run such a tight budget. That free money kills us.
We don't have the interest for the $400,000.
Well, we don't have that budgeted
Right.
money we just took out, so we have to figure that out.
This is just a way that we're exploring something that we would be doing the same thing, but we'd be pre-planning to have it at a lower rate. And doing it ahead of time, and they do it to make it either no or a lower rate because it's related to the hazard.
So that part would be good.
Yeah.
The rate we got was 4.6.
Right. So this is like, because it's related to that purpose that we would.
Most of the sewer plant funding we got was 0%.
Right. Yeah. Because it's in the public interest, right? So.
I've always feel hard, you give it 0%.
Yeah, so that's why, so.
But we still gotta pay it back.
This Friday be okay?
This Friday's crazy.
Okay.
Next Friday.
The next Friday after that,
That'd be good.
okay.
Right.
11 o'clock?
About 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
1 o'clock?
1 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Shoot for 1 o'clock.
All right, will do.
Morning.
put it better. So anyway, that's where that was DRI. So all the contractors are paid, you know, they were nice enough to wait a little bit. I called them all up and said, hey, you know, they only had to wait an extra couple of weeks, which was good.
Yeah, but for the 12th is pretty wild.
Okay. So we'll say 1 PM, April 12th, Friday.
Let us know if that works out. Anything else, clerk's office?
Oh, one thing we did, I got the museum to loan us the picture of the bridge.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's great.
Giant picture.
They-
Can't see it on the TV, sorry.
They got that from the town. The town, when they were over at Delphine Street, was throwing it out.
Oh.
So the museum happened to be over here and say, hey, we'll take that. So then I saw it at the museum, I said, hey, we'll take that. So
I'll take that.
Yeah, right.
One car on the highway?
One car. I think it was a snowstorm.
but I didn't realize how big it was until I got it.
Is it like 6 feet by 4 feet?
It's a big picture. Bigger than our TV.
Well, it
Not
was
as big as the TV.
We got a bigger TV.
I just thought it was, I didn't want to sit down in the cellar.
Yeah.
Touch safe.
Yeah, I
Nice
noticed
picture
when
of
I
it.
came in earlier.
For the recording, it's a nice picture of the old bridge downtown. Longer, probably than that car. Yeah, new bridge.
Semi-permanent loan.
Anything, police department?
Nothing from the police department today.
Joe, this week, fire department?
Haven't heard anything from this.
What's this paperwork that we got though? Did they send, do you guys have this or is this just me? Okay, it's fire truck equipment, or fire truck information.
Oh, yeah, it must be for your inventory.
Okay, beautiful. I was asking for a lot of info. Okay. I didn't know if this was for, following up with our newest truck that we got, or, but this is just for me, okay.
Just you. Yep.
Right.
Okay. All right, so I think that's all the departments. Cross that off the list. Should we go to, let's go to old business. So we're talking about DRI. James reminded me of the park committee, which is Laura and Rusty. He doesn't remember the guy.
Has anybody reached out to Chris and others
I
yet?
don't know.
I
Well,
thought that was James's job.
yeah, James asked like the mayor and I to do that, and
I haven't done it yet.
I.
All right, so let's get on that.
Fine, we'll do what we need to.
Yeah, the next thing was just the floodplain manager. This was just to remind DPW and code that we did that resolution to find somebody to do anything we have coming through. Like I know they didn't have zoning board meetings this last month, so we should help them get somebody to have the meetings so that those things can keep moving.
So, Nick
I know he's going for training.
is going for the training tomorrow through the 6th, and, so he'll have a lot more information, and hopefully we'll have a lot more paperwork. I need to follow up with some minutes for the zoning board, and then, yeah, hopefully then we'll just have our meetings at this coming end of the month,
Schedule that.
and
And if he needs help, he can seek help. Right, we did that motion.
Yeah,
At the special
so
meeting.
we had a motion, at a special meeting where we were at our DRI workshop, like last month or so. And in that motion was having the code enforcement and DPW encouraging them to find a certified floodplain manager to help us. In the meantime, until we have somebody who's certified, we've hired somebody to help us get this work done, to move it along. So this is for, the DRI projects and everything needing to go through the floodplain, which is a whole bunch.
Right. And even once if he goes to training tomorrow, and comes back certified, he may still need help from somebody for a
Absolutely.
period of time, so.
Yeah, he's not gonna know in 5 days this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this would be the training, like, possibly he could take the test at the end, but I don't think he's organized to take that. But there is a training facility, or a test facility in Banton that he could do in person. There's other ways he could do it online, so it could be coming, but when he's ready, he doesn't have to do it right away.
Oh, good. Was Bartlett Energy gonna do floodplain manager for us? Was that part of the grant?
They have a person.
Weren't they
It's not-
supposed to be doing it for those first two years?
It's not part of the grant, but they have a person.
Yeah, so we,
Wasn't part of that, part of what we're paying them for, okay.
well, as part of that, Climate Smart Communities grant that we got, the 5-year grant, the Barton and Luguitas person is a certified floodplain manager. And we did secure $25,000 of work every year from their company. However, the money through the state hasn't, like, we've submitted all we can and we're waiting to hear back, and once that money actually flows and we can pay them, they will do the work for us.
So they will have a floodplain manager to help us.
For $25,000 a year of work.
And there is another name, that Tim Steed brought up from Hunter, a certified floodplain manager that helps other municipalities in the area, so we may be able to get them to help in the meantime.
That wasn't the horse sense guy, was it? Something.
He mentioned that guy, yeah. We currently have Brianna Worley from the DEC helping us as our certified floodplain manager that we contact, but it's really limited, and it's like, we ask a question and it's really basic, law answers and stuff, so it's not doing the work for us. So we need to hire somebody who's gonna actually do the work.
Right. Hard to find. The town used to have one and they retired, so we used to use the towns a lot. So anyway, it's just a hurdle we gotta get through so we can keep things moving.
I wanted to request a raise for Nick upon his completion of the
Oh, yeah, you did.
training.
You know that.
He sent in a motion to be added, but it
Yeah, okay.
didn't take added, but like, yeah, so once Nick completes his training on the 6th, I would like to, motion for him to receive a 5% increase in his salary. That's
So
for
amount to what?
employee retention.
He gets 52 grand right now.
Yeah, so it's like $1.25 or $1.27. It was something, it was really close to that amount per year. And so that's for like employee retention, like, once he's got this education,
Oh, yeah.
we want to keep him, and so like
Makes
it's,
it a little more valuable.
yeah, I'd actually like to, give him more, but,
So it'd be about $2,600 a year.
For what percent of his 52?
That's 5%, yeah.
5% of his 52.
could we actually give him 10%? Because of the money that, once he is a CFM, people could court him.
Mr. Mayor,
Rusty.
I really want to say this out loud. All of our people deserve a whole lot of money. They deserve way more than we pay them. Boy, I hate to be doing this in the middle, at the very end of a contract negotiation with another entity, another department. As soon as we pop somebody 10% and we're offering 3% and all of a sudden they're making trouble for ourselves. The timing may not be right for that.
For right
Maybe
now,
down like a couple of months down the road?
yeah, for right now, I'll stick to 5% of merit raise because of his training that he, upon completion of his training that we give him a merit raise. 5%.
When is, may I speak?
Go ahead.
When is his completion date scheduled?
He goes tomorrow and it runs, 8 hours a day from the 2nd to the 6th. So, say like,
Next
whatever
weekend.
day it is.
Next weekend.
So like, yeah, beginning like Monday or whatever, that he would.
But then he has, I'm sorry.
It's good.
Yeah.
So then he has to take a test to be certified?
Well, just as long, once he's finished this training, I would say we give him a raise, and then he would schedule his test and take that when he feels he's ready.
How long does he have to take the test?
You get a few tries, and
I don't know if there's a
pay
date.
for it.
I don't think there's a date. I think it's just, you take the test when you want to take the test.
Yeah, there are some scheduled dates where you could go in a group and take it. You can also schedule to go to a testing facility where there's a person, like anybody's taking like these civil service exams. There's like a monitoring room just showing that like you're not cheating or whatever, right? And then there's also a way that you can schedule to be like on your screen in your own home and that you just don't leave the screen and somebody watches you take your test right there. And I guess it's like an online sort of test, so, they're sort of watching you take it on screen or something.
Okay, so a follow-up to that, so this test will determine his new classification after the training?
I guess once he passes this test.
Once he passes the test, then he's.
Certified.
All right, so the merit raise upon after the training, I agree with that. So then we could revisit that extra 5% after he takes that test, which will give him an incentive of hurry up and taking his test and pass it so he can.
Yeah, I like that. Sounds good.
Rusty?
The watchers of the village tax dollars say that every single person that we have in our thing are underpaid. And when we're giving people $5,000 raises, and I would give my great friend Nick Knapp a ton of money, and everybody else, you're not thinking about what this is doing to the budget on everyone. Every $1.50 an hour raise at 2,080 hours a week is $3,000. We give $3,000, and we got piles of people. We give $3,000. The police want what other police are getting. We're talking all of a sudden $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 worth of raises. You better be thinking about all this stuff. It's not about whether they deserve it or not. We're talking about budget and taxes.
I agree with what Rusty is saying, but the main part that we must remember is this is an advancement in their abilities and their skills. Not everybody deserves it. So if somebody sees this and says, oh, that person got 3%. So what are you doing to advance your skills? Or are you taking classes to up the ante? You see what I'm saying? So these people who deserve it are doing things to achieve that, I believe. I get it, but I think that will put the wall up.
No, just kind of, everybody is underpaid, for sure. I mean, that's why it's taken 2.5 years to come up with another full-time EMT. Because they could go, I'm not gonna name names, but they could go a lot of other places with a short distance and get more.
I'm sorry, Terry, did you have something?
Well, my only question would be, is, it's coming from like the school district work over the years. If you were going for an advancement on something, you would receive it after you completed and did your certification. So I just was wondering about, that too, as opposed to, well, now you've done the class, but you actually have to get the license or get the
Trustee?
I would be more comfortable, and once again, we tried to pay McNabb $50,000 a year. That's what we're gonna hire them. And then when we're all ready to go, and when the motion got made, I made the motion to pay him $52,000 a year. I want McNabb to get the money he deserves, which is way more. I would like to hold, along with what Terry's saying in particular, can we just hold off on this just a little bit? I would like to hold off on this a little bit.
Certified.
So he's not required to be certified, but he's required to manage our floodplain. And so whether or not he even passes it, I would like him to get this training so he can do his job. And I really want him to be retained, not, once he's received it, retain with us, and show our appreciation for him doing this. It's like, it's a whole lot, this floodplain management, there's a whole lot of stuff that he's gonna be doing for us. And like, we're looking to hire out CFMs and stuff, but like, this is our way of, encouraging him to become one. And whether or not he actually does get that certification, I don't want it to be contingent upon that, but just rewarding him for getting the training because he just needs it to do this job.
And is the goal of the training to become certified? Is that generally the end goal?
It's multi-purpose, it's, so he can do his job and for training. Like, it's free for people in his position and other people could pay to get the training.
Yeah, I'd be more comfortable holding out because our next large task coming up is the budget. Just seeing where we're at.
$60,000 for, I can't remember what, 120 for the, or whatever it is for the, 160 for the police station, and on and on and on. I think we can take care of Mick. When I go over to his house tomorrow night with a bottle of wine, I'll be chatting with him about, we're gonna take care of him, don't you worry about it, well, we're working on it, but I would prefer to not do it tonight, I would prefer to hold it. But, doesn't have to be.
Well, we got a meeting in 2 weeks anyway, so. Actually has completed the training.
You wanna do it?
Well, yeah, I do wanna just have a vote on a 5% increase tonight, and if it doesn't pass tonight, I'll ask it again at the next.
Well, I'm not real keen on voting it down, I'm more keen on waiting to do it, but.
Is what it is. So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Could we, did you make that motion?
We did, yeah.
All right, well, we shouldn't have been talking all right until we got it seconded anyways.
All right, do we have a second?
So, we don't have to do this. I know you wanna do it, you're pushing to do it. Do it, we gotta give it to them, we gotta show them. I get it all, I understand. I still don't think we should do it right now, and if we're gonna, then I think it should be 3%. Because that's the number we gave all our unions, and that's the number we give people, and I think that's what we should give, and we can always, I'm not even saying that I wanna do that right now, but we can always give another raise after a completion of this certificate, that thing.
Dave?
I agree with the 3% now, and after he receives his certification,
Right.
then we'll look down the road.
That'll be a good carrot.
I'd be more comfortable with 3% as well, because that is.
Anybody can get a certification.
It's whatever, yeah,
Anybody can get a certification, but whether they learn anything from taking that test is a whole different ball.
That's true.
I am certified by the EPA to work on any air conditioner in the country. Because I took this universal test, I passed it. Do I know anything about an industrial factory air conditioner? Nothing, but I'm certified to work on them. So a certification is just a piece of paper saying you passed the test. Whether you retain that knowledge and use that knowledge accordingly whole different ballpark.
I'm certified crazy, but I'm not.
You beat me to the joke, I was going your answer.
I'm not an expert at it.
And decisions have to be made, if and when Mick, moves into floodplain management and adds a whole bunch to his responsibilities and stuff, there's an opportunity, and once again, we can't afford it anyways, but there's an opportunity there, not just to get certification. He's now increased his responsibilities by 20%. Does he get a 20% raise because he's doing a whole bunch more? Numbers are just for the top. So that's something we can, and also budget time is the time. I'm always, when it comes here, I didn't want to pay money for the fire department to buy the scuba gear 1 month before the budget. When the budget's coming, I don't like spending money till we know where we're at, because we're tight. So we got a motion for 5. We've got if we have to do it, a couple of thoughts that it should be 3, and then other thoughts that we should wait completely. So while we're gonna think about this one, and we're gonna vote, what do we want to do?
Lori, would you like to change your motion? Would that be, with the contingency of him passing the exam?
Don't put any contingency.
Oh, well, I don't know.
I don't want a contingency. I will amend it to 3% merit raise.
No language.
Now.
Right.
Yeah.
Effective
For a
next
3%
week.
merit.
How much is
Yeah.
that now?
3% an hour, he's making
3%.
52 now, that's $1,500, that's actually less than $1 an hour. $1 an hour at 2,080 hours is $2,000 raise, which at 50 grand would be a 4% raise, but I, forget that, there's a reason why a bunch of us are saying 3.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So she amended it to 3, who was the second?
I second that.
I did.
All right, so we got a motion for 3%, wait a second. Any other discussion on that? Let's move on that one. Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Laura?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
And yes.
Let him know tomorrow when you talk to him.
I'll call him up there for.
The bottle of wine.
Yeah, right.
He didn't know I was.
Not only will I let him know, I'll let him know it's your fault.
Yeah.
That's right.
That'd be great.
Hearing other old business, so I put back on here,
Did you go through all the reports of the trustees?
no, we're gonna do that after, like. we
Oh,
did.
okay.
I put back on here the parade permits from Leonardo's, because we probably forgot about them. And she asked me about them. So we can do them, or.
I think you had questions about that.
I've spoken to some of the trustees today where I managed to be able to reach on the phone and talk a little bit with them about it. There are questions about it. I know the police chief had said, I'll quote him, but you have to check with him to make sure it's absolutely what he thinks and needs and wants. But I believe that his thought process is that the one up, the food truck one is out of the way, traffic, trouble, control. So if it was food trucks, and there's the way the parade permits stated, that would be okay with him, and small police, number of policemen we have, et cetera, Not necessarily so if it becomes an alcohol-related deal. Food trucks, yes. Alcohol, and we haven't heard yet that somebody wants it to be, or not. Open container, tents, booze, that's a different ballgame.
Right now it's just food trucks.
Well, we need to know more about that. For that, my opinion, Randy.
I was just gonna say, for, the Strawberry Festival, they have to have a closed tent.
Oh, yeah, no, there's
And,
not.
the fair, that's in a closed area.
Yep.
So,
We don't even know the details. We don't know what's the plan there. What do you plan to do? I was just looking in the code book about vendors licenses. What does the Strawberry Festival do? Because you're supposed to have for that thing vendor license. They don't give us vendor license money. I
They
assume,
should, yeah, I don't know.
I assume we waive that and they pay the Strawberry Festival instead of $100 for a 3-day license from us. They pay the Strawberry Festival $200-300 or whatever to be there. But we don't get any of that food vendor money.
Right.
I haven't heard anything. What's your plan on these trucks? What do you think is gonna happen? Who's gonna pay what? Is this a money-making deal? On and on. She needs to come tell us some more stuff, what she's thinking, I think. That's the,
Terry?
I just had a question on cleanup too, because there was nothing written in that part. And I mean, I'm fine with events and such, but I do wanna make sure that it doesn't look like a sty the next day.
Yeah.
Or that day.
We had that problem last year.
I'm not driving around cleaning it up like Strawberry Fest.
so anyway, some more questions about and the food truck one is the easier one. Food truck one, because of where it is and et cetera, is easier. The harder one is Courthouse Square, music, farmer's market, middle of the 15,000 cars a day, right downtown. That has more problematic, and we need to know more stuff about that one.
Yeah, I mean, she'd have to have some sort of electrical source. I mean, if she's gonna have a band there, either they're gonna bring in batteries or whatever.
You know, electric at the gazebo.
They not enough to take care of a band.
But yeah, no, when you're talking about the fees, I mean, if she's doing it for a profit, she needs to pay us a fee. You know, if the Strawberry Festival, all the money that comes into that goes to pay all the expenses. You know, the bands they hire and everything else, you know, so they don't make a profit.
Yeah, so I just put them on here to get talking about, so we can have her come next meeting, maybe with more details. Hopefully.
Next week, no later.
I actually asked her to come this meeting, so she's not here, but that's fine. I will remind her to come
Monday, next Monday we have to do?
No.
Every Monday, every Monday.
Fran?
No, another thing I wanted to say,
You can make it happen by yourself.
instead of having, farmer's market there at Courthouse Square, we need to utilize that pit.
Yeah.
And there's a concrete slab right there. She wants to put a band there or whatever.
Well, then there is definitely no power there.
Yeah.
Right, it's kind of like, is it a band or is it just somebody with a guitar or something?
Yeah.
That, we don't know that, and that
Yeah.
makes it really difficult.
Then we have to deal with safety issues down there.
In the band.
Somebody trip over a pebble or something.
Well,
It's kinda-
just like,
Yeah, it's not
anybody
quite-
else, the Strawberry
It's
Festival,
not
they have
really
their
safe
own
down there.
insurance.
It's not quite done yet, so.
Different events have to have their own insurance.
That could be a use of some of that space.
So, yeah, we're absolutely unprepared to take any action on this evening.
No, that's fine. I just put them on.
Nope, that's fine. It's one of our bullets on the sheet of things we have to keep. Go on ahead.
Fair, just going to the new business that we didn't do yet. To bump the budget, a bunch of motions, but we got one there to bump the budget $2,500 for insurance recovery.
Move to bump the budget, $2,525.08 for insurance recovery as per the line item on the.
Motion second.
Okay, any discussion? Don't ask me, I knew what it was for, but don't, not written down here, so. Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
And yes. The next one is to reappoint planning and zoning board members per the sheet. This is just to make everybody so we know exactly who's appointed and when they're based on.
Your name.
We have that list?
Rusty?
We do,
Yeah, it's right
The
here.
same question that we had last time, because these are appointed officers, and if that, unless that list is definitive about when they took office, et cetera, we don't get to, I don't think, and we'll have to ask Nate again, if we get to move them around or do that stuff with them. One way that we could do a list like that is clumsy as it may sound, would be to get these folks to resign. Okay, we need a resignation letter from all of you so that we can reappoint you in this order or whatever. But for us to just say, okay, now you're this, we appointed you 3 years ago for 5 years, but all of a sudden we're saying, no, we're not doing that. I don't think we can do that with these elected officers, or not elected, appointed officers. Could Nate chime in on that?
Yeah. Nate, are you there? He's there, but he's probably. Maybe he's putting a kid to sleep.
But you know, that was the same glitch we had before.
No, I know.
We wanna not be fooling around a lot with just, oh, we'll just do this, oh, we'll just do that.
But we voted them in to start
Yeah,
their term
voted them in.
on a specific date,
Right.
and then they should be, filling out their terms.
Right.
And not getting reappointed to a new term all of a sudden.
Right, for a lot longer time.
Yeah.
I know Cindy was trying to find a methodology for us to put these people in order, but I still don't know that passes muster. Nate, you there? Good old cheater.
All right, let's skip that one for now.
Okay.
We got 2 minutes. Oh, here you go.
Nate, were you here? Did you hear any of that? Can't hear you.
Oh, you're on mute or something.
I did not quite hear the question.
Nate,
Well,
we're playing around with the appointment of the planning board and zoning board again, and I'm bringing up the idea that their officers and their terms were set, and we don't get to fire them or change them. So this idea that we tried this, or talked about it months ago, we want to put it in a particular order that may not fit what we did. Can we do that?
So their terms are set. They're all supposed to be staggered. One person's term should be expiring every single year. You should not be appointing people to odd years. If somebody is doing things that you would like to remove them for prior to expiration of their natural term, then we have to look at the state law and village code specifically to see whether there's authority for removing them early. But yeah, you shouldn't appoint somebody to I'm just going to pretend 2 years, because the term I think is always 5 years, and the office is separate from the person serving. So if you appoint somebody today or tomorrow or last week, they're always serving the remaining portion of the term of the prior person that filled that office.
So Nate, the glitch is, as our staff is trying to clean up the bit of a mess that we have with not being sure of who's doing whose term and this and that, is that they come up with a way to say, okay, we're going to put these guys in this order, these 5 people, and we're going to say this one is now going to be expiring here, this one's going to be expiring here, and this one's going to be expiring here, but that's probably not when they would really expire. So it's a methodology to make it easy to get started from kind of scratch right now. Can we do that when somebody was appointed to a 5-year term, but they're only 2 years in? Can we do that stuff?
So if somebody's original appointment was wrong, for example, you appointed them to a 5-year term, but they actually were filling a seat that only had 3 years left, it's okay to correct mistakes from the past, right? So to the extent that the village does not have records showing the terms of office of the original persons appointed to the board and the successor members of those boards and exactly what happened, then I think acknowledging that and saying, henceforth from here forward, these are the terms, these are the people, we're going to make accurate accountings of the time that people serve going forward. It's just a practical solution to a problem that you wouldn't be able to solve otherwise.
So it could happen. Since we don't have great records of people.
I think we have the swearing in.
you think we'd have some fun?
I don't know. You just adopt this and then you go.
Right. So this would be a fix.
I just wanted to hear we could do it.
We can do it. So this would be a fix and stagger all the terms and we would know exactly when they expire.
Entered in the minutes.
Trigger. I got it.
Send it around.
I got a second copy too.
Yeah, there were a couple of dates that were wrong here, I remember that.
Right.
38s or something, where that's not correct.
Yeah, and like it doesn't need to go out that far, we really just need the next appointment.
That's printed.
25, 28, 31, 34, 26, 29, 30, 31, 27,
My only question is she's got the planning board of 5-year terms and the zoning board of 3-year terms. Is that correct?
I believe that is.
Okay.
I think the
It
planning women is 5, the zoning is 3, and the OHPC is 3. I had it in here. I'm pretty sure that that's right.
I just, Nate, can you verify that?
Yeah, I'm just double checking your code. Generally speaking, the terms, the years for the terms align to the number of people on the board. So if there's 5 people on the board, it's 5 years. If there's 7 people, it's 7 years. If there's 3 people, it's 3 years. But
We're all 5 people, so it's weird.
I think the zoning is 3.
I think Rusty might be correct about that. I do remember looking fairly recently at this issue for the village and seeing in your code you had them at 3-year terms. In which case you would have 2 people expire in, first year, 2 people expire in the second year, and 1 person expire in the third year.
Yeah, it was an odd thing like that.
So that part is kind of wrong because she's got them 1 per year. So that some of those people are 5-year term, but the board is only a 3-year term. So we have to do it more like Nate says, 2 people, and 2 people, and then 1 person.
Yeah, on the 3-year one, what?
On both of the 3-year ones, because they have 5 people on the board.
In looking at the specific section of your village code that applies here, it says a board of appeals is hereby created. Said board shall consist of 3 or 5 members to serve for 3-year terms to be appointed by the board of trustees.
So this methodology that assumes 5 and then change every year. And so it's 2 to 1.
Right.
I know it's not on here that way.
So we go 25, 25, 26, 26, and then 27.
Yep.
For both OHPC and ZBA.
Same thing.
Well, so I think OHPC might actually be 5-year terms, as I recall. Yeah, let me just double check because I was looking at that the other evening.
Yeah, you can search.
The term of office. Well, all right. It is 3-year terms. Look at that.
Planning is the only one that's 5.
Okay, so we would have to amend this to that. The first 2 would be 25, the second 2 would be 26, and the last one would be 27.
And on both of those 3s, and then the corresponding next appointments, which won't matter because that's more for our reference than anything else. It'll just be that many years later.
Really, we just need to know the next one. After that, it's every 3 years.
So.
Nick, can you confirm 5 years for the planning board?
Yeah, let me just look at the code.
Yeah, right. Before we adopt it, we're really sure. Because that's the only one that seems to be 5-year. Yeah.
All I'm gonna look, he's fast.
Yeah, are you comfortable to adopt it with these changes, or do you wanna wait until it's fixed and then we?
I think we,
54-2.
we could adopt it with the modification.
Okay.
Well, if I was faster, I'd be. Planning board.
Faster fingers on that.
It looks like it. I would assume 5 years. Under Chapter 54, it says
Yeah.
in 2017, it changed to a 5-member board and to establish the terms of the members, but it doesn't actually say. Oh no, so I'm sorry. It's 5 years.
Yeah, 2018, running.
Okay.
Technology is beaten by the book.
So we would amend this document for that. So for OHPC, James Oberheiser and Phoebe Morris would be 2025. Ira and Jeff would be 2026. Pat Schaefer would be 2027.
She actually did resign.
That's not the same Schaefer.
Oh, never mind, that's
Oh,
a
right, that
different
was
one.
the planning board.
Oh, and that's reflected
That's
on the
Cookie.
sheet,
That's
yeah,
Cookie.
yep.
And the planning boards as it is on the sheet, which is Linda Cole, Mike Barney, Trunucci, Ron Milton, and a vacant position. The zoning board, Mark Tribuco, and
Jackie.
Millar is 2025, Richard Van Hall and Shane Taylor be 2026, and then the vacant position, which would be 2027.
So Mike, we're gonna have to do one thing. On Pat Cookie Schaefer.
Yep.
Her thing will expire, and the next appointment will be 27, which makes her 3 years this year. She would have to be appointed this year, 24.
Right.
5, 6, 7. So we're gonna need to appoint her now.
Okay.
To make her have that 3-year period. The other one for 3 years is vacant on the last one, so we don't have to do anybody now. That's
Right.
the appeals, and the single years are. Just to make sure about that. Yeah, the last one's vacant there too.
5-year, right, is vacant, so.
So she was appointed this year.
Don't try to fix the broken wheel.
No, it's correct because she was appointed this year.
Yeah, she was the last one on, so.
So technically.
No, she was appointed sometime this year. But then that would be 3 years from now when she'd be due.
Right, but she was appointed in 2024 and would be done in 2027, so that would be her 3 years term.
This today is 2024.
Yeah. For the fiscal year term?
It would track with the normal appointment calendar for officials. So April 1st. So if she was appointed prior to April 1st, she actually filled a term that expired on March 31st.
Are you getting this?
Yeah, but we appointed her and she started.
Yeah, so we need to reappoint her tonight.
We have to appoint somebody, if we're gonna have somebody that's 27, we
Yeah.
have to appoint somebody tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got her written down there as 27, so she's the one we're appointing tonight. And her term starts today and goes 3 years today till the 27th.
And it makes sense to align with the annual meeting, because
That's what we do.
Yeah.
when we.
Yes, we understand that she was appointed more soon, but that would be, now would be playing the deal of, oh, now we gotta go through everybody and figure out when they were. We're trying not to do that.
Yeah.
We're trying to start from scratch.
All right.
Got it?
Right,
Yep.
so let's start with her. Let's appoint Patricia Cookie Schaefer to the OHPC effective April 1st, 2024, which means she expires 2027.
My second.
Do we have to vote on that? Probably. Fran?
Yes.
Let's vote on it.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles? Yes. Dave? Laura?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes. Okay.
What board you in?
OHPC. Okay, so now we could adopt this list as modified.
We're adopting, we'll figure out those other year things or something, but we're adopting that first
The first
column,
column,
the next appointment column.
they're just math after
Yeah,
that.
that's. So I'll move to adopt the, list as corrected.
My second.
Questions on that? Fran?
I'll make Cindy happy.
Yep.
She's been trying hard to get us to do it.
Now we'll keep our ducks in a row, hopefully. Somebody gotta keep them running. All right, looks like we got minutes here too.
Payment bills?
Copy. Yeah, let's do payment of bills.
I've marked this up, can I have this?
Yep. Would anybody like to pay the bills?
I move to approve the payment of bills.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on the bills?
As long as you're good.
Yep. Fran?
Yes.
Terry? Charles?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Laura?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
And yes. Sign the bills. Now we got minutes, 2 minutes, they were listed twice, we got one in new business and under minutes.
Yeah. Little glitch there.
So the March 18th meeting was our second meeting of the month, our
Yes.
regular meeting.
Yep.
So I motion to approve the board minutes for that, as presented.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll second it.
Any discussion on those minutes? Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
I'm gonna recuse myself on those because I wasn't part of the board yet and I didn't have all the information.
Charles?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Laura?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
And yes. And we got the second set of minutes, which was our special meeting. Oh, that was the OHP meeting, so.
So that was the special meeting we had, to hear the appeal, and we hired, an officer.
Yes.
There were two corrections that we, that I saw that should be removed from the motions on page 2, I don't know who's got it in front of them. On page 2, the motion about, OHPC denial, has a line in there, the proposed work will not have a negative effect on historic district. That's not part of the motion, that's opinion, that should not be in the motion. And the next one about the hiring of an officer, seconded to hire Brad McDivitt as a full-time police officer, and it says to fill an open cops grant position, take that out of there.
Does it need to be in the motion?
No. And then it says his salary and et cetera, et cetera. It's not, I don't believe that has to be in the motion, and that's not, also not the way we do motions. We don't say, we hired somebody to do this, we hire them for that position, for that money, blah, blah, blah.
Full-time person.
Yep.
No problem.
Yep. I'll ask something about it later. Anyways, did you want to?
So with Rusty's, two corrections, I would motion to approve the minutes for the special board meeting of the 25th of March.
Second.
Any other discussion, questions on those minutes? Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
I'm gonna recuse myself also.
Charles?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Laura?
Yes.
Rusty?
Abstain.
And yes. Okay, so let's do communication. Oh, wait. No, let's do trustee.
I abstain.
Actually, let me go to communications. So we got NICOM's coming up soon. Everybody wants to go sign up, right? I think it's Fran and Terry.
When is it, Mike?
NICOM?
These girls are
When?
15th, 16th, and 17th of May.
It's just 2 days, 16, 17?
3 days,
15th.
16th, 17th, 15th, 16th, 17th.
Of May, is it in Sagamore again?
It is.
You two are going? I may go, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, if you want to go get with Cindy,
I know sooner than later, I do it every
get
time.
you signed up.
I do not like the expense that it costs the village to go. And
So
if
some looks
you've not been,
really
it's probably good for you to go, but I just don't like to spend that much money.
Yeah, they changed their prices too this one.
Are they more yet?
Well, they took away the meal. The meal thing is separate now. You still have to eat.
No meal?
Oh, you can get meals.
But you gotta pay extra?
Added cost, yeah.
Wait,
Probably because
Like
Laura
the
was
meal.
stuffing sandwiches in his bag.
Yeah, I did. I was stuck, I was stuck.
You did great.
Each meal I had
You're great.
something, I took extra away, extra sandwich or whatever.
You caught on now, charging us extra for the meals.
It was already $1 zillion with the meal.
I know.
I got it, I got my words there.
I don't have vacation from work, right, though. Use all my vacation for cheerleading this year.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Other communications we got a letter from the judge. He always writes us nice letters. Says, Dear Mayor Beretta and Village Board, on or about March 13th, 2024, the village court and court offices filled with smoke apparently caused by a fire downstairs at the Owego Police Department. As a result, it's come to our attention that there are no smoke alarms in the courtroom or the hallways, and we are unable to open any of the windows on the second floor of 90 Temple Street, as we know. In the course of trying to open the windows, we discovered there are 6 broken windows throughout the court. It's also brought to mind that there are no rear egress from our offices. This is the letter we got, which, so we're in process of fixing some of that stuff. But we should investigate the no smoke alarm thing for sure.
Yeah, that should be remedied
That's really
immediately.
easy to fix there.
Right.
The judge is putting us on official notice about his safety concerns.
Right.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
So DPW guy, can you get with Fred?
Yep.
Don't they have a separate entrance? They got one coming up.
There is a real one. Yeah,
They got two.
I would suggest, carbon monoxide alarms now.
right. Yeah. It is a gas furnace.
Are there adequate fire extinguishers throughout the building?
Good question.
Rodney, is there a stairway in the back?
Well, there's a second
Two
exit.
doors, there's 2 doors. One door going up and there's another door in this. There's 2 doors there.
Not from the outside, is there?
No,
Yeah, there is.
The one goes into the police station.
right.
But it also goes up the stairs to the judge.
Right.
The other side goes up the stairs to the judge.
They both come down to the police station.
So there's a stairway on both sides of the
Yeah.
building.
So I don't, he's been complaining that he can't get access or something, I don't know.
Yeah, there might be, I don't know if they had the door locked or what. There is a second
Yeah.
way out.
Okay.
There are two.
It's important.
Right.
It's important that
In
windows
a case
open.
like that, you'll be fussing around looking for a key.
Yeah, I don't know.
They should be like crash bars.
They should, yeah. You should be able to get out, maybe not get in, but you should definitely be able to get out.
We could ask, yeah, like code or fire and police or whoever designated just to do the safety check or, and install whatever's needed.
Bruce is.
I got it covered.
You've never, ever have people come and do a safety check. Anyway, you don't want to have somebody come to this building and do a safety check.
They're doing their own safety check, our own,
Yeah.
you know.
No, we gotta fix whatever we need to. The windows we are fixing through the grant slowly. Like a speed of a turtle. Yeah, 20 years from now, maybe we'll have new windows. Or fixed, well, only new windows will be fixed old windows. Alright, so that's all I got for communications. Let's do the trustee reports. These are put on the agenda in alphabetical order. Not the order that you're sitting in. You can do them in that order, right? No, it's not that. Dave?
I have nothing this week.
Yeah. Steve's next. We'll save you till the end.
Yeah, take me till last.
Charles?
Okay, I don't have anything for DPW, we already covered. I have not spoken to Jim on anything prior to him. I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention that, well, we all know that I'm a Facebookaholic. I keep my finger to the pulse of the village, because there's some problems that can be remedied using that platform. I took it upon myself to fix something that was going on in my neighborhood. I made a post, not in capacity as a trustee, but as a resident. So I'm gonna read the post that I put. I said, I would like to learn the identity of the driver of the monster truck whose muffler system is tuned to a deafening frequency that disturbs the entire neighborhood as it arrives and departs, using the length of the street, which is clearly marked with slow children at play signs facing in both directions, as its personal runway for takeoffs and landings. I also wrote, no video provided at this time as the vehicle continues to break the sound barrier. So, with that said, I've noticed the last few days that I haven't heard this vehicle. Actually, it was two vehicles, one I know of. But I haven't learned the identity. I'm not gonna divulge who that person is because I'm not gonna embarrass anybody. But I think word got to this person because the problem seems to have fixed itself. I can ask Dave because he lives in the vicinity. If you heard, you know the noise I'm talking about.
It's a black truck.
Okay. Have you heard it in the last few days?
No.
Okay. So I think I remedied that situation. If it persists, if it continues, I can speak to the person. But like I said, I did this on myself as a resident and not as a trustee. So I don't want anything to come back. I want to be transparent about the whole thing. That I did not use my power, I hate that word, to do this, you know, our authority. So, I'll keep you up to date with that. I wish I could use that same method for these roosters.
Well, I think.
That's a different,
I think we need to bring.
that's a different situation, and it is on our honey-do list. I would like for us to visit that at some point to clear that up. And I would like to change, not chickens, because chickens are productive. Now, people use that they produce eggs. Prices of eggs are really high, so they can get around that. Chickens don't make noise like roosters do, so I think there's a noise ordinance that's involved in that with the decibels and just keeping people awake at all hours. So we really do need to visit that problem because I keep getting questions from my neighbors about that. And I don't want to see that I'm not hearing their voice. Yeah.
Fred?
Yeah, it was, 3 meetings ago, I guess, Rusty brought in some, sample laws from around the area. I'm wondering, should we have, post a public meeting just for people to come in and talk about their ideas to us?
Maybe we have a workshop on
You know, before we actually
animal laws.
put the laws together.
I know there's a difference between village and town.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, sure.
It's always a good idea. Charles, in the middle of your report.
No, go for it.
It's always a good idea to get our constituents' opinion and stuff. And of course, before we make a law, we'll have to have a regular public hearing.
Right.
But one of the things that will happen, and it doesn't mean that it's not valueless, if we have the workshop, 7 people will come. It will be the 7 people that don't want the roosters and the 7 people that do want the chickens. We won't get a good feel of how the village thinks. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try to get the best feel we can, but I'm just saying that it won't really tell us that. I don't know what will tell us that. But, and even if we make the law and have the public hearing, it'll be the same. It'll be the same. It'll be a number of people that did not have the stuff around, and a number of people that have some animals that want to keep them. And I don't know how to find out.
Well, that's why I wanted to separate the farm animals from what's making a nuisance. You know, there's a difference there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we had cows that were mooing all night long, that'd be something different. But on a farm, that's tolerable, you know, horses and llamas and bears, oh my.
Well, there's a constituent that spoke with me from over on the south side. She says, the neighbor of hers that has a double lot has a whole row of chicken coops all the way along the property. So I mean, it's not just a matter of, can you have them, you need more restriction than that, you know.
What purpose are they for, serving?
That's, I guess this neighbor's selling eggs and everything, you know, it's a.
I mean, it is known that having these chickens also, attract rodents.
Right.
Yeah, rats and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like, the mayor said, I got 9 cats, so I don't have that.
I don't have any cats. You gotta rent a cat.
They want the roosters.
I got 12 pet rats, and then one of them somebody else's house. So anyways, I gave that stuff out to folks to look over, to try and get a feel about, and I don't know if you got one, but I'll give you some more. About what you might, whether you feel like doing something, whether you wanna do something, whether these particular three things, you might find a way to blend some of the good and bad parts of all of them together on something of ours. My general feel, from talking to folks in the village is, we have a small urban rural village. It's rural in its own little way, but the village part is kind of urban. We don't have a whole bunch of far-flung farms or anything like that. There might be some exception, but it's tough to find them. The people over on the south side that had the horses up on the Fitz property, had some couple of horses over there. They really weren't bothering anybody right there, but do you want horses on George Street? Do you want horses on East Temple Street? Farm animals, exotic animals, horses, anything that's not a pet probably shouldn't be in this little urban rural village. And the chickens are the hardest one to figure, and the roosters probably shouldn't be, and the chickens are the hardest one to try and decide what to do about. And that's the one that would have the most discussion, but we probably can come to something on most of the rest of it. We're not gonna talk about that a whole bunch tonight, but think about that some more. Think about talking around the people. Think about whether, should there be chickens anywhere? Should there be chickens in the historic district? Should there be chickens on the outskirts? Should there be chickens here or there or not? Or should they be here at all? Or should there be, you could have 3 or 4, they should always be contained, no matter what we do. And I know a whole lot of trouble for people is that there's trouble with various things, but they're running free. And the neighbor doesn't want them in their yard. Should they be, there are laws about fowl running free, and we can make those nasty. But anyways, think about that some more, and we should probably get after that now. We had the election, and we had some other things going on. Now it's time to do that. I'll try to work on that this week.
We can have an animal workshop.
Yeah.
Okay,
Charles will do that.
Yeah, that's.
So we're working on all animals,
Well,
or just
it's,
roosters?
it's.
Oh, no, we're working on the animal
laws
control
of
of all animals.
So what about exotic pets? I have 12
a pet,
parrots.
you've got it in your house, right?
Yeah, but what if I wanna put them outside for the summer?
Like an alligator?
No, I have parrots.
They'll be in the lawn, brother. I don't know about parrots.
They make a lot of noise.
But you keep them in
Those
a cage,
will be things that will have to
Well,
be.
when they're outside, yeah. They have their own room at my house.
Yeah, they do. It's nice room. Rusty has.
No, we're giving Cindy, leniency for public comment a little early. All good. What's your name?
Yeah, that's a good question.
But, I mean,
we'll look at it, we're gonna look at all
I bought
that.
that house, I checked with code enforcement to make sure there was no exotic pet law in the village.
And there
There
wasn't,
wasn't.
but there might be.
So am I grandfathered in?
No,
So you're gonna buy my house?
the right price. If you put a $30,000 porch on there, I might buy it.
But you haven't had any complaints from your neighbors?
We don't know what we're.
So one day when I was putting down the hardwood floors, and it was probably 11 o'clock in the morning, and that nailer sounds like a gun. I had a knock on my front door and it was OPD.
And OPD's like, and I thought maybe it was because of the noise of the floor nailer. And he says, do you know you have parrots on your porch? And I'm like, yeah, I just put them out there. They were in cages. But somebody had turned me in for having parrots on my porch.
But they weren't making noise.
No. The one that swears I keep in the house. But he was like that when I got him.
Oh, you said that, good, I was gonna just jump in about how he got taught.
Yeah. But the thing is, yeah, no, yeah. So I checked with code enforcement before we bought that house. Yeah.
Well, actually.
You know, I could have a cow or a horse in my yard right now.
Right now, yeah, that's why we
We're
got it.
probably going to make a law about that.
The residents who live across the street from the, right directly across the street from the roosters do own parrots, but they're not a nuisance.
Maybe that's why the roosters are
They're
croaking.
no, they're all
They're
middle,
not outside at
all
night. We
times
wouldn't
of.
leave them
If I might.
Yeah.
The three sample laws that we brought all include that you can have in those municipalities typical household pets and a bird that's under control, not a killing hawk or a condor, would probably be a typical house pet. So all of those would allow for that. Exotic pet, not an alligator or a rattler, but exotic pet that's a typical pet. But that's just still all to be decided and talked about.
So parrots generally at night, and I didn't know that wasn't true of roosters, but as soon as it gets dark, they go quiet.
Not with these roosters.
Because they stay quiet so their predators can't find them. So that must not be the same for.
No, roosters.
Because even turkeys will fly up in a tree and sit there and be quiet all night long until dawn.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Roosters
roosters weren't like
I
that.
don't know, they're noisy.
They're very neat.
Our-
I had roosters, I food school.
So our general feel, and we can be told that we're wrong, but I think that this is correct. Very few things are grandfathered in. That's a thing that people think. If I have it, you can't do this or that. That doesn't, I'm pretty sure that doesn't work on the animal law, et cetera, et cetera. If you had that animal, that municipality says, no, you can't have those, you don't get to do that. I'm just letting you know about grandfather. That's not likely to be the
So
case.
that's why I'm not okay with changing laws, because
What if,
yeah.
Right now,
What if-
we don't have a law, that's the problem. There are people abusing.
what if you wanted to put, there's no law, what if you wanted to put 15 cows in your yard? What if?
You'd have to have enough grass to feed.
Yeah.
It would be
Yeah.
in the
Or if it fails
ordinance,
ag.
but, yeah.
I'm just saying.
There was a place on Front Street, I was told, a few houses down from me that was mad at the village and they had farm animals in their backyard and the people in the village complained.
Must have been a long time ago.
Explains why you wanted that big concrete porch.
It'd be easier to clean the.
And hold the cows.
Holds it off easier.
She's got a whole lot more parrots coming.
No, I don't, no, actually, I got rid of, I take them in as rescues that people don't want them anymore. It's not like I go out and, no.
Okay.
Well, in conclusion
Okay.
of my report, I said all of that to say this. It's on our honey-do list.
Yep.
And the residents asked me about it, and I didn't want to seem like I was not hearing their voice. Other than that, thank you, Rodney, for the upgrade. That's,
Yeah, the chairs.
thank you. And that's all I had to say about that.
Laura's next on our alphabetical list.
Okay, so when I saw the agenda, I got a little nervous and I typed up my report ahead of time,
Good.
so that I'm able to send it to you.
Perfect.
Okay, so, there's an upcoming meeting Thursday, April 4th, 10 a.m. It's on Zoom, and it's to discuss our building resilient infrastructure and communities, non-financial direct technical assistance application. That was the BRIC DTA.
I wanted the acronym for that.
Yeah. So, we put out for the BRIC DTA with a specific ask, and so this is them coming to us and we're having a conversation about for more information about what we're asking for and then what they might be able to give us, and we'll massage it to what, you know, what they want us to ask for. Just like they did with the Army Corps of Engineer grant. And so we'll just, you know, within what we've wanted, we'll see what we can get. So I'll just let you know, it includes the mayor, Julie Nucci, Fred Ulrich, Wendy Walsh from Tioga County Soil and Water, and there's 5 members of the FEMA Department of Homeland Security in on this call. That's gonna happen on Thursday.
Is that one of the things you were gonna give us in a written report?
I see where you're going.
So anyways, what we originally asked for, I tried to sum it up, so I'll just read that to you. We are asking for technical assistance to get assessments completed, planning studies completed, and do the benefit cost analyses to prioritize actions that reduce the risk to people and infrastructure. We're asking for help to ready our projects to the stage that we would be ready to implement them when funding was identified. 4, vulnerability assessments of our 32 critical facilities identified in the hazard mitigation plan, the 2024 update, to the 0.2%. So what that means is that that's the super flood level, the higher amount of water. So we would be retaining our services through the bigger storms, not just the 100-year floods. So it would be protecting our infrastructure, all of our critical infrastructure. That includes our buildings and our, you know, like the culvert and the underpass. So like infrastructure structures, right? And then expansion of the Army Corps study to include natural and beneficial mitigation for upstream watersheds that impact the village flooding. And then for education services for municipal officials and the general public regarding flood risk, resilience, and the benefits of CRS precipitation. So that was what we asked for in the original BRIC TTA. And so we'll be asking the feds for our free assistance at this call. Okay, and then the other upcoming meetings, tomorrow, we have our small committee is having a check-in meeting for the Climate Smart Committee bronze submission. So we've been working on all these different projects, you know, to submit them in for this money. It's, we gotta have it all in by April 5th, so this is our last meetup. So that's tomorrow at 10. OHPC meets on Thursday here at 7 p.m. And we're gonna have a meeting here with Cadmus, and this is for the wastewater treatment plant energy efficiency assessment. And so Dirk, myself, and Jerry Wiley would be meeting here for this Zoom call. And it's like an hour-long thing where we're gonna talk about the plant and see what services we're able to get. So I've been helping with the benchmarking in the fleet inventory. The benchmarking is collecting and reporting information on the energy usage of our village-owned buildings that are over 100 square feet. I got the usage from Dirk tonight, and so that'll be completed. We had to I had to research the barns at Marvin Park. I went over with a measuring tape, got the square footage, got the meters, you know, did a lot of cognizance and stuff, and so I more intimately know the village. And also, I looked over the bills. and we have seen the energy usage of, like, you know, what our old buildings use compared to this new building, and you know, and and stuff, and yeah, so it can give a little bit of better ideas of how we can try to work with stuff, because now that, you know, we have a little bit more information, so we can say when we're trying to get grants, like how much energy, you know, what we're working towards, you know, like, hey, we need better windows or stuff like that. We're gonna have a little bit more data to back up our asks. And then, so along with that, I did the fleet inventory. So that was collecting information, which is the model year, the year purchase, make, model, drivetrain type, type of fuel or power source, miles per gallon rating, the mileage or hours of operation, the class, the gross vehicle weight rating, and the vehicle function of all village-owned four-wheeled and motorized items. So I went around and got all of that. And there's a few missing items, and so I'm just putting this out there. If I could get anybody to help me get these remaining items in the next 2 days, I'll be able to fill out that sheet. And so what I would like is station number 4 is the Quonset hut across the river, and there's a fire truck in that called 801. And so I'd like to get the VIN number and the weight off of that vehicle and the mileage, if somebody can get into that building. And then there was 2 trucks in the fire station that I couldn't turn on to get the mileage from. And so maybe Charles, if you could see if somebody could supply that. That was 851 and 804. And I would just want, like, yeah, the mileage on those vehicles.
What was the one and the other one that you said that was?
The one that's across the river is 801. It's like a 20-some-year-old pumper truck, big one.
You need the VIN numbers.
Yeah.
She needs the
And the mileage.
she needs the mileage on it too at the central.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll get that on Wednesday.
Okay, and so the other remaining thing was the Owego Little League. They have a lawnmower too in theirs, and so we would have to contact somebody who's managing those locker or the buildings over for the Little Leagues. I don't know, Jeff Van Wagenen maybe, or somebody, but that would be, that way I would capture everything that we have, right? And so,
Those lawnmowers aren't ours.
oh no?
The league owns their own stuff. We don't own the league stuff.
We own the park,
Cross
right?
them off the list.
We own the property, but we don't own
They own all the
stuff.
equipment.
Okay. All right, that's great information to know. All right, I'll take that off my list. Okay, so from doing the inventory, I did identify that code enforcement needs a vehicle as soon as possible. We see it sitting outside, and that vehicle didn't pass inspection, so it's like you know, doesn't have a vehicle currently, so we need to get him one. So what I'm considering or discussing within our money that we're going to be getting from our energy, you know, this work that we're doing, completing inventories and stuff like that, I want to look into an electric vehicle for code and installing a charger on the building here you know, on somewhere on this property for that to be charged with, you know, with our grant money.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Are you talking about that first 60 grand that we're already getting or got, or are you talking about that next 100 and something that we're trying to get?
Yeah, I would like to get it out of the first 90,000 that we're getting.
And that's the ones that we're supposed to get. That should be a done deal.
Yeah, so like with.
Well, that's a good way to spend it instead of little fluffy stuff.
Yeah, so with turning in this stuff on the 5th, we would be working on like this 3-month time period to have all our plans for how we're gonna spend the 90,000 in. So if I could get the car purchase lined up in that time, I would like to do that. And so what I got my eyes on is the Chevy Blazer, because it's American made, and so we get the most credits for, and rebates for all of that, and well-known, and the Blazer's the regular size everybody's comfortable with, like it looks like a normal car, and you can sit in it and feel comfortable and stuff like that. So I did ask Nick to, if he could sit in one or test drive and tell me if he hates it, to let me know, or like just to explore like what could be within electric, for what we could get with the grant money, like what could be the best option. And but the Chevy Blazer was my first pick because I've been doing a little studying about what's out there.
We're gonna get a smart car. It'll be different.
Yeah, right.
Those miniature cars.
That's why I like the Blazer. It's just as big as what everybody's used to, and good size for us to, haul stuff around. And if we, wanted to go on a trip somewhere or something like that, people could sit in we could have 4 people sit in it. Oh, smart cars, you can't have people in, right?
There's a joke, son.
So, and then the other identified vehicle, is for DPW. So they have this truck, it's called number 55, and it's like this big truck, and it's old and they can't get parts for it anymore. But it's wicked needed because it's the one that they use to service all the south side. It's got the big, good tires on it to get up all the hills, and so they're using it to plow and stuff like that. And so we did identify needing, a new dump truck and has a mitigation plan. It's like, I have a tiered list of what we want most in the order, but and that is our first vehicle that we want, and we would like to get a 6500, which is the largest thing that we could get that everybody, the regular license could drive, and that's best for us with our hiring and having DPW being able to, have bigger pool for hires and stuff like that. And so
that would come out of the grant money also?
Well, I'm not, I'm working on getting it out of grant money, but I don't know which pool that's gonna come out of. But,
I mean, the one thought I have is, I think that is something that, Fred should, figure out with the budget, when we figure budget, another 6 weeks.
So, but what I want is him to figure out like the 10% of the cost into the budget, and then I'd be getting, we'd be looking for the grant for the other, out of the government for the other 90%. Basically, yeah, it would be awesome if he could line up the purchase so that we have all the information for when the grant is available, and then we could, pounce, right? I'm sure he's ready for it when it's available anyway. He'd be excited to get a new truck.
Just keep them posted.
Yeah. And then at our next meeting, I will be ready with a new proposed law for the Jake brakes.
Should we,
On the agenda.
or schedule a public hearing?
No, we already had.
About the Jake.
I don't know if we did or not.
I think didn't we already have a public hearing on the Jake Brake?
No, we talked about like,
That
adding
was the
fines and
containers, yeah.
stuff. Yeah, we have the container, the storage container law. So, yeah, so I'll bring that then.
Look here next after that.
Right.
Okay.
So bring the law and then we'll schedule a public hearing at the next meeting.
And then I was, just reporting that McNabb was gonna be attending the floodplain management training through the NFIP, which is the National Floodplain Insurance Program.
at the State Preparedness Training Center.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
All right.
That was the abbreviated one?
That was the abbreviated one.
Yeah.
Terry.
Well, I've done a lot of reading. I do not have anything else to report at this moment. And it looks like I have more meetings, so thank you so much.
Yeah, every answer in the world in there. And there's an OHPC meeting Thursday.
Yes.
I guess I gotta figure out if they're having one, as long as we can come to terms and get around to it.
I can confirm that they are having one.
Okay, so we'll make a note to turn on the computer. Now,
Now, does that need to be publicized? That that meeting is happening, the OHPC?
yeah, they should have already publicized it somewhere.
Hasn't been but a week since the last.
They publicized all their meetings.
I mean, it's in the paper?
Should be.
They just
They do
don't-
have a little glitch as far as the public hearing.
Yeah, they haven't called them public hearings.
But the meeting notice is
I'll
out.
have to work on that.
This man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's probably on the website
And they asked me about that glitch, and I told them, by them I mean Phoebe, that they can still look at applications, but they can't officially say yes or no to any of them until they have the official public hearing on each one of them, which doesn't have to wait until the next month, but technically can be 13 days or whatever that day number is. So they could have a second meeting in April if they want to. But everything needs to get moving. So I'll remember, hopefully now I got it in my calendar, come turn the computer on.
You got one?
We got Fran.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, I got your message that we're supposed to have our reports printed out. I didn't get my act together.
That's fine, I
Next
just
time
thought
I
you
will.
keep things moving a little better.
Yeah, I mean, it helped when we were doing that before.
Right.
Okay, I have on the, well, of course, I had attended the, interview for the EMS person. And, she is very well qualified. With the cemetery, the, village historian, who's, Alicia, Vaslo, wants to become a member of the cemetery committee. We need more members on that, so, I don't know, we need to vote on it or just appoint her?
Yeah, I don't know, honestly.
Is it committee?
Committee, village committee member.
I would think that would be the mayor.
I'll appoint her on there. There you go.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, I attended a number of different meetings and, yeah, as Fred said, the Friends of Owego Evergreen Cemetery did, purchase, some salvage doors. There's solid wood, they're not just hollow doors. And, so they're working at getting them finished up, you know. That's about it.
Rusty.
Okay, I'm going to make a little statement. I'm going to want it put into the public record. I'm going to give Rodney a written copy of it. And it is about my disappointment with myself, mostly my disappointment with many other things, the village board, various other things. I was extremely displeased with our appeal process. I thought that we were not prepared. I thought that we didn't have the things we needed. This is my opinion, to do that. So I'm not complaining about outcome of this. And I also, by the way, I don't want to be interrupted in this either from anybody. Thank you very much. I'm not complaining about outcome. I'm complaining for me because I'm a process person and I believe that I did not do the things that I should have done or said that I should have said about the process of that. I I should have made a larger fuss. I wanted the thing over with, as many people did. I should have made a larger fuss about us slowing down and doing a better process on that. So I want that on the record. I'm displeased. I should have abstained on the vote. I'm actually not even pleased with the way that the motion is written on the minutes. I don't know how we should have written the motion, but I'm not pleased about the vagueness of that motion. So anyway, I'm displeased with me and I'm displeased with us, and I want us to do a better job at process on things. That's my fuss for me.
Anything else? Nope. All right, mayor's report. That's fun, but crazy. I didn't follow my own thing, I didn't do a written report. Right.
Look at it.
We don't know our rules.
I know, right? With DRI meeting, everything's going okay. So we did have, at that special meeting, we did have a, I don't know how to put this. We did have a request from former trustee Morton about Chair Overheiser, which is fairly valid. Since then to now, James did apologize to Ed that he gave us incorrect information. How do you want to proceed with this? I don't think we can proceed with this unless I recommend something, right, Nate?
You asked to proceed with, can you say it again?
Well, so we had what Ed brought up with removing Jim as the chair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that really goes anywhere unless I recommend it, correct?
Correct. Yeah, the local law requires that the village mayor recommends it and the village board approves it.
Okay. So I don't know that I should make that decision because it's not really a me decision. So I guess I will recommend it just to force you guys to vote on it.
Have you heard anything, from the former trustee? As far as that, his take on the apology?
Well, I mean, the apology was accepted, but this is just my 2 cents. Jim did, the point of Jim's information to us was to try and get Ed to recuse himself, which is not something any one of us should ask. It should be on you if you're going to recuse yourself. You shouldn't tell somebody they need to recuse themselves. That's kind of out of line if you want to ask me personally.
Charles.
Charles?
Is this the only incident of wrongness done by this individual?
Not that I'm aware of. Probably that you're aware of too. I know there was some murals that got brought to OHBC that should have been immediately turned down and said OHBC doesn't regulate paint. It didn't happen. What happened was the murals were picked apart as far as what was in the murals, and the property owners gave up on the murals and canceled the project.
Would this be?
I just think maybe, the same as they weren't aware that, they had to have public hearings. I mean, maybe there needs to be, outline for the responsibilities of the committee.
Possibly. Although we did make that they don't regulate paint very clear in the new laws. I do know that because we did the new laws. And that was a lot of discussion we had when we did the new law.
That was something that law got brought up. We didn't accept that law. We looked through that pretty well to find out where the things that were too overbearing, and that was one of the things that people didn't like.
Trustee?
Is this something, since we're talking about personnel, et cetera, is this something we should be doing in executive session? Executive session?
I don't think so.
Talking about discipline of an official or employee. Nate? Can I ask Nate?
You can ask me.
Nate, should we be doing this in executive session if we're talking about discipline of a employee or person?
So the village code requires a public hearing before the board can take action to remove a member of OHPC. And so your discussion will end up in public if you ended up taking action to remove somebody. It's just that's the function of the code. You can have an executive session to discuss matters relating to the appointment, suspension, removal of a person or corporation. So I think that you could, but again, your code does require a public hearing prior to actually removing somebody.
Charles?
So are we saying that this individual used their position to blatantly change the outcome of something that could have been knowingly?
That's up to your interpretation. So I don't know what the next step is, Nate.
Well, Mara, it's up to you initially. I mean, it's your decision to remove somebody, and then that decision is subject to review by the board after a public hearing. So that's the actual phrasing from the code itself.
I'm trying to mix this around. Once again, I'd be more comfortable if this was an executive session, but
I can
yes,
leave,
yes, the
I'm the only one here, right?
the Zoom is available, but it's not about you. Anyways, the thing that can be done here, yes, it's going to be your decision to do it, but you kind of, in a way, said, I would like to get a feel of how the board wants me to proceed. If the board kind of said, no, Mayor, we don't really want you to proceed, then you wouldn't have to proceed, and we wouldn't have to vote. If the board said, yes, we want you to proceed, Mayor, please bring this, then you could decide that was what they wanted you to do, and then you'd have to, but they can't make you do it, you have to decide if you want to do it. So you're kind of trying to feel, I assume you're trying to feel the waters and feel out what do people think about this, which is fair and reasonable. I think I don't know, I'm not saying I want an executive session this evening, but I think that there's things that to be discussed that I would be less comfortable doing. Now that doesn't mean that eventually we don't have to, if we follow a path, we don't have to have a public hearing eventually and say things particular, but I don't like talking about people and discipline and stuff in public, because there's things that, there's just things, I don't like doing that.
Especially people that are volunteering.
I'm certainly uncomfortable with us, once again, trying to decide in the next 5 minutes that we're gonna do something about any of this. I'm certainly uncomfortable with doing it a week ago, and I'm not. It's kind of like what I just was uncomfortable about the process of that appeal, and I'm uncomfortable about this. If we go racing into this, I don't think that's a great idea.
I have to agree with Rusty, we need to discuss this amongst ourselves.
So that's on the.
And we don't actually have to do that tonight either.
No, it doesn't have to. So anyway, that's on the topic.
Well, would another option be, if you write a letter, saying, I don't know how to say it.
Well,
That,
because we're trying not to.
different items have been, cause difficulty, and if, there's something in the future, maybe he should consult you before.
But
Yeah.
there's always already been established pattern. That's what bothers me.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that's what bothered him too, so that's the only reason I brought it up. Dad's not with us anymore to bring it up himself, so. So anyway, we'll keep investigating that. Maybe we'll have an executive session in the future on handle the public hearing. Maybe we won't.
Let's do that. Let's think about an executive session.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's all I got. Public comments are last thing.
I have a public comment.
Sure.
I think it would be a good idea to send a letter to people who have put applications into the historic board and then just withdrew them. Because
Get reviews, right? I guess.
they go to the meeting and they get bullied and then they just give up on their project. And before it can come out that they don't even have say in something, the person's already decided they're not gonna do their project.
I'm sure I only know of the ones that came to talk to me. Doesn't mean there aren't others.
Well, I probably know one, I'll give you a name later. That she put in her application to do something and then withdrew it before she even found out that they told her no, pretty much at the meeting, and then came back and said, well, they'd do it, but she'd already withdrew her application.
Yeah, no, that's all good info.
And there's probably a lot of people that just, okay, it's not worth it to me. I won't do the project on my own.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, we haven't gone to HBC for a while because we haven't done anything in the exterior that we needed to go for, but we have in the past, and we've had good experiences. So, you know, I mean, there are times that it's very good to, and assist with things like mortar, you know, and they were able to help us find someone when we were doing our chimney project, which was a pretty huge project. And we started that just before the flood and ended up getting kind of waylaid because the contractors took about 18 months before they could come back to us because they had so many emergencies to deal with. So, I mean, it's, yeah, I think it could be a very good thing, the way it works.
Yeah, there's probably stories on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a law that we put in 2018, so maybe we should check and see how it's working.
Yeah.
Or not working.
Yeah. The other comment on that is, I think there needs to be some sort of parameters on time limit. I mean, you know, with, what we just discussed last week, I mean, it was 9 months later. And
Right. So that's what the public hearing clause that we have in the law is supposed to help with.
yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be drawn out that long.
Right. Yeah. Any other? Okay. Where's our honorary board member gonna come tonight?
Yeah.
Meeting.
Who's that?
It's okay.
Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chat on it later.
Make sure he's all right.
I will do your.
Yep.
We couldn't get off, pace because we made it one way, we made it one way coming in from every direction. We couldn't get off the street.
That's the next plan. Move to adjourn.
I do.
Okay. See you guys next time.